Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ilong, and these are my members.
Hi, I'm Chi.
I'm Rong Xiang.
I'm Dion.
And today we'll be doing a presentation on the game that we have done for our major project, named Spell Master. So first of all, we're going to have our team member Han Jin talk us through the premise of the game. Han Jin, please.
Thank you, Lumir. Okay, I'm going to talk about the game premise about our game. First, our game is a 2D platformer side-scrolling multiplayer RPG game. And the purpose of the game is to collect different spells and try different spell combinations with a special spell book system. And the player is able to customize their spells throughout the entire game. And it's a part of the player motivation also, because if the player want to try out different spells, they have to level up the character in order to see more elemental spells. Due to the limitation of time and experience, our team only able to perform the prototype of the game, and sorry about that. Okay, for the unique features, the player is able to change the elemental track anytime. That means, for example, the player choose the fire element at first, and then he feels that the fire element is not as strong as he thinks, so he might change to another element like water or earth element, etc. As the player is leveling up, his character's base HP and mana will increase accordingly. And the player is able to interact with the NPC somewhere and to buy some in-game items like potions and mana potions, etc. Our game has very beautiful level design, full of colorful, different colors, props and platformers. Unique inventory system. Later you will see, I will show you our unique inventory system. And of course, our game is about spells. So definitely our game will have awesome spells and stunning animation. And as well as the cute enemy AI. As you can see, this is our inventory system. So first, you can equip your spell book. Here are the 5 spell books to the slots here. And after that, you can equip the spells according to the spell book here. So that your character can fire the spells to kill the monster. Here is the screenshot of firing a lightning spell, lightning bolt spell. And yeah, this is the screenshot of interaction with the NPC. So you can, this is the screenshot. You interact with the NPC, you are able to buy something. Okay, so another unique feature about our spell books. Our game is able to equip up to 4 spell books. And what spell books the player equipped will affect what mastery level of element the player has. That means if you equip the fire element, as in throughout the entire game, and you are able to cast high level spells of fire. Of course, the player is able to get better spell books as the game progresses further. That means better spells is able to use. And some spells only able to be cast when the player reaches certain level. Like some spell is stronger, so you have to reach, let's say like level 5 to cast the spell. And different spell, of course, have different amount of mana requirements. So when you cast a spell, the mana pool will decrease. And when the player's mana bar is empty, the player is unable to cast any spell instead of casting the spell from the start. So the player has to wait the mana regen a bit or until the mana pool is full, so the player is able to cast the spells. Our game, the target audience, this one show everything. Our game, the target audience will be casual gamers, platformer gamers, RPG gamers, 2D gamers, and gamers who like the game with a colorful world. Okay. I would like to pass on the presentation to Ilong.
Okay, so now I will be talking about the business potential of this game that we have. So next slide please. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the business model that we're going to be going with. For the business model, we're going to be going with freemium, and it's free to play with the option to purchase in-game currency. Now the question is, why freemium? And isn't like other game been doing the same thing, like free to play? For example, like League of Legends, where you can like spend money on in-game currency and buying things. How is ours different? For ours, our freemium will be closer to mobile-ish type of games. For example, Brave Frontier. And later I'm going to go over a case study of Brave Frontier's success to see how we're going to justify us using the freemium model. So next. So for Brave Frontier, in Brave Frontier, it costs 5 gems to draw a random unit. And 5 gems costs 399 USD. So 399 USD roughly converts to $5.40 SGD, which to us players or gamers in general, that is not that big of a sum of money for us to spend on a game, especially if we put a lot of time into it. So next. So first of all, why would player buy gems? What is their incentive for buying gems? Now for Brave Frontier, what they do is that, let's say there is this unit that I really want, right? So what I'll do is that I would stockpile the gems that I have, because they tend to give gems for events, and like you get gems every now and then. You can stockpile the gems that you have and spend it on the unit that, let's say the unit comes out, right? And you can try to randomly get the unit from it's sort of like a random number generator. So you try to get that unit randomly, and if let's say you get a unit, that's good. But if let's say if you don't get the unit, right? So what happens is that you have the option for you to spend real money on in-game currency, for you to buy gems, and get more chance of trying to draw the unit. So what are the chances of people buying gems? Now, in games that we play today, especially free-to-play games, for us players, we tend to justify spending money on games that we spend a lot of time playing. So for example, if I spend like 30-ish hours in this game, I am more likely to buy in-game currency of the game, to buy items that I otherwise wouldn't be able to get from normally playing the game as a free player. So I would say for the longer that the player would play our game, that we have retained their attention for, the more likely they are to buy the gems. So what are the opportunities to influence the rate of people buying gems in our game? So in Brave Frontier, right, what they have is that they usually have gem sales, and by sales it's usually some events that give you more value for the amount of money that you're paying. So for example, let's take the example of this USD $35 for 60 gems. Now, the good thing about like selling in-game currency is that us as game developers, we do not lose any sort of actual tangible items. We don't lose any sort of money. We don't have to put any money to create in-game currency. We can just create in-game currency and it's readily available. So, if let's say right now they spend 60 gem, right, on a sale, and they give us the US dollars of $35 USD, we essentially have already earned more money than more complex game in Steam market right now, most of the complex games. So as a result, my conclusion on the freemium model is that with freemium model, even though we start out as free to play, the longer that the player have played, there are more opportunities for players to potentially spend on our game, and we have the potential to earn more per player compared to most of the other games out there. So next. So next I'm going to go into business opportunities. So right now currently, MapleStory is the main competitors that we'll have when we enter this genre, because it's the same genre of a 2D side-scrolling action RPG, right? So MapleStory potentially is the powerhouse of this genre, with not much other competitors. There used to be a lot of competitors, for example, Ghost Online, but most of the competitors have already given up because MapleStory have been so dominant in this market for the past few years. Now, however, recently, over the years, MapleStory's numbers has starting to dwindle. Their player count has starting to dwindle year over year, and as a result, MapleStory is actually going to create a sequel to their game. Now, the thing is, this sequel is not even in the same genre of 2D side-scrolling action-adventure game, but rather it will be in a 2.5D voxel-ish game. So what this means is that us as game developers have the opportunity for us to this leaves an opportunity for us to enter the game market and potentially take over this genre and become the powerhouse should we do things right. So next. So in conclusion, what I'll say is that with this business model, we have the potential to earn more than games that offers more features with a $20 price tag. And on top of that, for this current game, where it stands right now, there exists a real market opportunity for us to release a game like this in order to reinvent the genre, to make the genre popular again, because there is still not much main competition in this genre. So now that concludes my part, and I'll be passing on the rest of the presentation to my teammate Dion. Dion, please.
Okay, hi, I'm Dion. I'll be starting on my part, which is the technology used for our game. So firstly, I want to talk about what technology do we use. We use Unity 3D, as you can see from here. And what does Unity 3D comprise of? So basically, it has three parts. You have a game engine application, which allow the players to play the game, to preview the game, to preview the graphics of the game also. So it's very useful. And there's also a code editor for programmers or developers to change the various codes inside the game. And next, I would like to talk about why do we use Unity. So very simply, we have a platform support. So right now our game is based on PC. So if you want to do like cross-platforms, right? It will be nice if we have we use Unity 3D, because Unity 3D can support for iPhone and Android or 3DS or other similar platforms. Yes. And next will be the IDE. I'll talk about IDE, which is Integrated Development Environment. Basically, what Unity have is an environment that allows us to create the game using its environment. So it's very easy to create because you can drag images to the environment and drag to the scene. Yes, and that's how you make games in Unity. It's very simple. And most importantly, Unity also has great graphics and sound implementation. So compared to other engines such as GameMaker doesn't really import images as well. Unity import images better than GameMaker. So our game will look much better as compared to when we do it with a GameMaker. And next, there's also easy and safe deployment, which means it's very easy to build a game. You can just click one button and you can build the game, which is basically just press build. Yeah. You can build the game based on different resolution, and after you build the game cannot be reverse coded. So no hackers can use our game to reverse code our game to find any like missing hack or something like that. Yeah. So our game will not be hackable. And the code in Unity 3D is very stable because it uses Java and C#. Very simple to use programming language in the industry. And because Unity has its own code editor, it's much safer and much easier to use than other game engine. Yes, next. There's also the easy to use profiler. When there's a profiler in the Unity which allows you to drag object from the profiler to the game itself, or just change the setting in the profiler itself. It prevents memory leaks, and it's very it optimizes the game. It gives the game better optimization. Okay. So lastly, most importantly, our programmer are familiarized with working with Unity 3D. As we learn our course, for 3 of our years, we learn Unity 3D. So we are very familiarized with it, so we can program easier with it. And next, I would like to talk about other notable release games in the market. First, I would like to talk about Broforce. Broforce is a newly released game in 2015. It's a platformer game, co-op. And basically it's like Metal Slug where you shoot other people and you kill other people. It's a very, very polished up game, and just by using Unity, they created this 2D shooting game. Yes, and next, I want to talk about a commercialized game, a very commercialized game in fact, Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft, and it's widely used. It have a competitive scene right now, and it's also made using Unity 3D. Next, Endless Legend. Endless Legend is an award-winning strategy game. It's very renowned for having very complex programming, complex system, complex gameplay. So what they use is Unity 3D, and it's surprising how you can create such a complex game using just Unity 3D itself. And do we have to pay any royalties to Unity? Because we have to use Unity. So because we use Unity, we have to find out how many royalties we have to pay to Unity for our game. Fortunately, Unity does not charge on a per title basis, and one does not have to pay royalty or pay revenue shares. So it does not charge on our game, and we don't have to pay any revenue shares. Next.
There's also other consideration that we made. We talked about using GameMaker, which is a widely used game engine for 2D games. Why GameMaker? Because GameMaker is easy to use. It has easy scripting language. It's simple. We have a simple interface with a clean design, so it's easier to find your way around. It can also be used to create really complex games such as Spawn, Key, and there's also very useful tips online for beginners to learn. And there's also many useful tools in the game engine itself for you to fix the game if you encounter any error, as compared to other engines which you have to use pure programming to fix the issue. It will take weeks to probably solve the issue. And it is also a great tool for game design, as a lot of the game design elements can be directly ported into the game itself using GameMaker. But why do we ultimately choose Unity over GameMaker? Simply because you have to pay more for the features, and it doesn't allow game creators to take as much control as pure coding would, because we have this spell system in the game, which allows the players to mix and match the spell books, how to create spells. So it will have to take very, very precise control. We have to take precise control over the system so that we can create we can create the system itself. So in GameMaker itself, it uses a sequence-based button control. So it will not be advisable for us to choose GameMaker over Unity. Yes. And lastly, I'll talk about Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is very similar to Unity in a lot of ways. When Unity uses JavaScript and C#, Unreal Engine uses C++ and Usescript. However, the reason why we choose Unity over Unreal Engine is really because we have to pay $90 per month to use it, and you have to pay 5% of royalty on gross revenue from any game release by using Unreal Engine. So compared to Unity where you don't have to pay anything, I believe Unity is the game engine that we should use. So without further ado, I will ask my teammate Rong Xiang to come up and talk about this portion.
Hi, I'm Rong Xiang, and I'll be ending off our presentation by talking about the completion status of our game. So, as mentioned by my teammate before, the core of our games are our spells. So as for our spells, we have 4 main elements: the fire, water, air, and earth. And these spells are interchangeable any time of our game, and you're not limited to just one spell and one element at a time. So the 4 basic projectiles, as shown below, are the 4 elements, and they can only be equipped accordingly to the proper spell books. And we have also 4 advanced spells, which are the homing, which is the fire advanced spell, the water, the burst, the pierce for the lightning advanced spell, and as well as the area effect for the earth. And as mentioned before, we can only use the spells if we are equipped with the proper spell books and the affinity level, such as you can only use a level 2 spell if you have the level 2 spellbook equipped. and all spells are mana based. You cannot use a spell if you don't have sufficient mana. Okay, so some of our notable mechanics that we really have will be jump through platforms, which are part of a platform game. Spell books and affinity, as mentioned before. Interactions with NPCs, and not just NPCs, but we also have a gachapon system where you can draw various spells randomly, and it's a part of our game, and we believe that it will be a good addition. As well as in-game currency, we have both gold and gems. Gems will be either bought or saved up, and gold will not be any and gold will just be in-game and it cannot be bought. Okay, so leveling. Leveling is also a basic mechanic of RPG games. We believe that we do not want players to play our game just once. So we have decided to therefore include leveling to allow players to assess events, assess items, assess spells via different levels. And one such event will be the boss level, where you can only take part in this event by achieving a certain level. Okay, some of the intended mechanics that we are going to implement in our final version will be the random enemy spawn. As I've said before, we want replayability to be very high. So we would just, we would implement this simple mechanic inside as to not allow players to be familiar with the game just yet. We want them to be as unfamiliar with the game so that they will be curious and want to explore more. And a wider array of enemies, events, items and spells to also provide players with many opportunities to play the game. Okay, this is one mechanic that may have been implemented in several games, but for us, we would like to implement the merge spell, which is to combine two elements of spells, such as you have a fire spell and you have a water spell, and we would like to implement this such that you can have a higher level of spell, but with the same amount of elements. And also the ultimate spell, which is similar to most games, is a powerful spell that can only be achieved when you're at a sufficient level, as well as the equipment to boost defense or boost attack, depending on which equipment the player wants to equip. Okay. So for our prototype, our elements do not affect anything at all. So this mechanic is to implement such that players will not just stick to one element. Like they will not just stick to fire, because in the future when we implement this mechanic, fire will be weak to water but be strong to earth. So they will want to experiment with different types of elements and spells. Okay, so we also do not want to limit our players to just one difficulty setting. We want players to feel challenged in our game. We want players to want to feel that they are good enough for a harder difficulty. So this is one of the mechanics that we'll be implementing, as well as a multiplayer option. This could be in the form of PvP. We will create an arena mode for players to fight against each other, because I believe that a multiplayer game will always be more successful than a single player game, as well as also to complete the campaign mode together. We believe that this will be a huge part of the game. So I'd like to thank you for. So I'd like to invite my teammates back to end off our presentation. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it. So once more again, thank you.